burning level, and wisdom.
Well, it's hard work for Ann. I mean, it's not hard work for Ann to do this. What I'm saying is the hard work that Ann puts in is what's given her that back.
She's got to do the real estate. She's got to
nothing has been handed to you, and I'm assuming you would agree to that. And you don't have a sugar daddy at home. Sorry, Bill.
If anything, she's got a sugar mama.
She's my sugar mama.
If he has any sugar, it's because Ann has given it to him and allowed him to have it.
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with BB and Jaisy.
Welcome to the PB and Jaisy podcast.
Yay.
And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Bill Stedham, the lucky bee who's sandwiched in the middle of the PB and Jaisy sandwich. Right here is the one and only, the punniness, 75 hard, Sarah Paget.
All right, Sarah Paget here. I am the P. I put the P in Paget. No, in PB and J. I don't know. I put the P somewhere.
You put the P somewhere.
You have to pee. What's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, that was
I'm not sure why y'all invited me.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, the smartest, the only person I know from med school, and the funniest person I know, Jaisy George.
Hey guys, I am the jelly, the JC in this PB and J sandwich.
What about Jaisy?
Happy to be here. It's like Daisy, but with a J.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I hope I spelled our website correctly. You know, some days I wonder if there isn't a full moon every single day. I mean, when adults don't get their way, they start to act out. Kind of like if I were a kindergarten teacher.
Yes.
And they had 250 colored crayons, a box of 250 for 4 kids, right? So they each have a ton of crayons. And somebody took the magenta color crayon that they wanted.
Not the magenta.
Yeah, oh my God, do they act out. It's terrible. And we've simply got to learn how to get along and realize that we're not always going to get our way, you know? I forgot to check and make sure that our guest has a hot mic, you know, because she is kind of hot. And say a few words for us.
Well, hello. Thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast.
Yay.
I'm looking forward to it.
We're so excited to have
The
you.
gangsta herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you bring any chickens with you?
No, I heard you've been talking about my chickens.
Yes.
We have, yeah, and a few other things. You know, fantastic. That concludes our mic check. And that's right. We've got the one and only Ann Weaver in the house. And also, as always, I want you guys to stick around after we pick Ann's brain and 27 years of experience with dealing with difficult people. Sometimes people who aren't happy because someone took their magenta color crayon.
Have y'all been married for 27 years? Is that what you're talking about? You're the person she's got to put up with?
Yeah, not quite. We're close,
she's
but
the expert.
not quite. But she is an expert. She does have to put up with me. I do sleep with her. Now, I don't know if they caught that we're married.
Yes.
Okay.
Ann Dam Weaver is definitely with Bill Stedham.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Bill Weaver, we like to call him.
Bill Weaver, yeah.
Yes, Ann and Bill Weaver.
You should see my look when people in the
Actually, it's
grocery
Mr.
store.
and Mrs. Ann Weaver.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. You know, y'all stick around after we listen to Ann because we're going to have tales from the lockbox. But right now, I'm going to hand it off to Sarah.
All right. So I am so excited, Ann, that I get to interview you. I look up to you in so many ways. Your plants are green. Mine are brown. Your bank account is full from all the real estate that you sell. So I only have a few minutes to interview you, but I'm going to try to get to some things that will selfishly help me be a better person. So sorry, Jaisy and Bill, I don't care about you guys today.
That's what
yeah, just kidding.
That's okay. You can do that.
Okay, perfect. I think we all have so much to learn from Ann. In your table topic, I can't think of a better person to do this. 1, because you're married to Bill.
Yes.
2, because you're in real estate and we have to deal with difficult people. But for me, the big thing is you literally let things roll off your back like water on a duck. Like it's crazy to me. Like I look up to you so much for that. So our table topic is how to deal with difficult people. So I'm going to let you kind of just roll with that and give us some advice and some tips and some things that we can, because everybody, no matter what line of work you're in, has to deal with that. So Go ahead.
Well, dealing with difficult people sometimes can be difficult. To me, it's like I've always said, real estate's the cheapest entertainment you'll ever have.
Yes.
And so, but people can be a challenge. I have learned over the years, I have become kinder in my old age. Used to, I would just say, oh, get over it, next. But now I listen more. And I found that the reason that some people are difficult is they just want someone to listen to them.
Yes.
They find they have a battle in their life that they're dealing with. Selling a house is very emotional, and they could be selling the house they grew up in. They could be selling a house that they had wonderful years of marriage in. They could be selling a house because of a bitter divorce, or the one that can be the most difficult sometimes is the trailing spouse in a relocation deal. One spouse gets moved to another state, and the spouse that's not being transferred is leaving mom and dad, everybody their kids grew up with, and things like that. And so they're having a hard time with it. And yet, while they love their family and they love their spouse, they're hating life.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with at one time.
They will make your life that you want to hate your life too, or they try to.
Yes. Well, I want to take things like way back. So if y'all don't know Ann is the OG of real estate, but before real estate, she actually worked at 7-Eleven, right?
I worked for Southland Corporation for 12 years.
So I'm sure you ran into many difficult people. I think you've been held at gunpoint multiple times?
Yes.
Okay. So talk a little bit about how you learned through that, because I truly believe that every life experience we have teaches us for where we're at. So the things that you may have learned that you can apply now to dealing with difficult people, because there's a big difference between running a 7-Eleven and real estate, but there's a lot of things that I would assume kind of taught you to be prepared.
Well, and I'll go back a little bit before that. I grew up on a dairy farm, and I come from an Amish Mennonite background. So we were peace
So that
lovers.
means she can cook
Yeah.
really
Yes, she
really
can.
well.
She can cook for 1,000 people.
That's where pear shape came from.
Yes. And whoopie pies. I'm going to make a note for the show notes. I don't think she'll give us her exact recipe, but we may have a link of some
for the
kind.
whoopie pies.
Yeah, whoopie pies. Sorry, go ahead, Ann.
Anyway, so I started at that, and of course, cows don't talk back to you when you're milking them. So, but I did learn a lot of things. My dad had a restaurant for several years, and I worked in it and learned some people skills. Because I dropped out of school, my dad made me quit school. In that culture, girls are supposed to work and keep house and have kids. And that's
Barefoot and pregnant, right?
Right. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so when I moved to Texas, I didn't know anybody, didn't have a job, and I had to go to work. I needed to survive. And so I got a job, 7-Eleven, working deep night shift. And it was very challenging at first for me to learn the ropes, because there's a different clientele out between 11 p.m. and 7
you're
a.m.
how old at this point?
I was 21 years old when I went to work for
Blonde,
Yes.
cute, petite.
Grew up on a farm.
Midnight.
But I could really fight.
Well, I was about to say.
You're
Well,
a feisty one, though,
deceiving.
for sure. Yes.
Ann can murder you, and you could die before you even know that Ann's in the room with you.
And she'd be able to hide it, too.
Yeah, she would.
She would know where to put the body. She would feed you to her chickens.
So anyway, but then they talked me into becoming management. And so my very first store that I took in 1986 was the most violent store in 7-Eleven in the U.S. And it was in Oak Cliff. And I spent 9 months there. I learned.
You served 9 months.
Yes, I cut my teeth.
Yes.
I learned a lot of things about people. I had no idea people were so mean to each other. Mm-hmm. And I just learned it was a matter of survival, because I was determined I was going to make it. Nobody was going to stop me. I was going to beat this. So that's kind of the beginning of it. And then I went on to do other things, and I enjoyed my time at 7-Eleven. It was a very fun job. Every day was a new day, just like real estate. Every day is a new day.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but you deal with difficult people there. You learn. I used to tell people, ask them. I got to be really a smart aleck with them sometimes. And they came in on a clean floor. I would say to them, would your mother let you walk on that clean floor? Or actually, I'd say, would your mama let you walk on that floor?
That's the gangster Ann that we talked about. We actually talked about gangster Ann last episode, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway.
We won't tell you the other things that we called you, but that's
all right.
It was all good stuff.
That's all right.
So I really, to give some other people some advice. So if someone's dealing with a difficult person, what are a few things that you suggest? I heard you say to maybe kind of figure out where they might be coming from, or maybe they're having a hard day. Have a little grace, maybe is a good word. What are some other things we can do to handle difficult people a little better than we probably do?
Listen to them.
Listen. Okay.
Listen. People can only listen. They only talk so much. The average gripe session lasts 7.5 minutes or something like that. I read somewhere one time. And so if you can endure their thrashing for that length of time, they're usually over it.
That's good.
Yeah,
I've watched this happen where Ann will just listen to this person, and I'm wanting to just reach up and strangle the person on the other side of the phone, because it's like, and it's typically somebody brand new in the industry trying to explain that they have so many deals closed, and I'm like, and they're screaming, and she just stays calm and confident and listens, and at the end it's like they're in love with each other. I don't know how that happens.
Well, so I've seen that in you so Bill's the manager of our office, which basically means he has to put up with everyone's crap, and other agents call and yell at him. Like, everyone just wants to call and yell at Bill. His number is some billboard that says, if you want to yell, call Bill.
Yeah.
So Bill has to handle a lot of difficult people, but I think you've gotten that from Ann, where I've literally seen him set his phone down.
Yeah.
And you hear, and he just lets him go. And then by the end of the conversation, you've gotten them calm. They've felt like they've been heard. And sometimes Bill doesn't even say anything else, and it's a beautiful thing. So y'all learn from each other.
Well, I've learned from Ann. Yesterday we had that happening, and there was in today's environment, we have a lot of people that get upset because they are in multiple offers and they don't win.
Oh, yeah.
So you have one house to sell, 40 people make an offer, there's 39 upset people. And one guy just called and just, oh my goodness. And he told me in the beginning, it was nice. He said, you're not going to like this conversation. So I kind of chuckled, and he went off at the end of it. We were best friends. But in my younger days, I would have tried to interrupt him and said, don't talk to me like that, or don't say this about that person. And that doesn't solve anything. And how do you handle that?
And I learned, it's business. To me, it's what I do. And oftentimes people get involved emotionally with their clients.
And take it personal.
Yes.
And take it personally. And I have learned, yes, I like that relationship and I want to keep that relationship, but I'm not that type of an emotional person.
Right.
So that makes a difference.
I've heard, I won't tell you who told me this, but I've heard you can be robotic a little bit, but that's probably plays in your favor when it's business.
It's kind of, you don't know what she's
related.
thinking. Does she like me? Does she hate me?
I see it as a
What's going
compliment
on?
because in this business, if you get emotional, you've lost.
Oh, yeah.
You have lost.
You have to
And you know
detach.
what? Being the dumb blonde sometimes is really cool.
What do you mean?
What? Multiple offers.
What? Who,
You
me?
want to buy a house?
Wow.
Was that a caveman blonde?
Yeah.
You buy a
You
house.
buy a house?
So we've got some questions that we ask all of our guests, and I'm so excited to hear your answer because you're always reading. And correct me if I'm wrong. What grade did you stop in? Did you say
I finished 9th grade.
9th grade? Okay.
I got to say before you ask, can I? She is the smartest, and I'm not saying this because she's my wife. She's the smartest woman that I know. She only graduated from 9th grade. And now it makes me think like I only graduated from 9th grade, right? But she only graduated from 9th grade. Not only is she the smartest woman that I know, she's in that top earning category of all women. And it's been really amazing to be able to see that there's not a characteristic between education level, earning level, and wisdom.
Well, and it's hard work for Ann. I mean, it's not hard work for Ann to do this, but I'm saying the hard work that Ann puts in is what's giving her that back.
She's
and
got to do the real estate. She's got to
nothing has been handed to you, and I'm assuming you would agree to that. And
That's
you don't have a sugar daddy at home. Sorry, Bill.
If anything, she
He's got a sugar mama.
She's my sugar mama.
That's
If he
right.
has any sugar, it's because Ann has given it to him and allowed him to have it. Okay, so what is something that you wish that you knew back then that you now know?
So all people want you to listen to them talk.
That's been a theme, but I think that's huge. I think we all need to hear that.
It's something that I learned, people will put you at gunpoint and there's something they want to talk about.
Right.
It's either they think it's the lack of money or the next fix that they need from their drug habit, but there's something they really need to talk about.
They're needing your attention and they need you to,
Right.
yeah, they have a
And
message.
that's their message, a way of getting your attention.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And I'm going to be writing notes
That's
this whole
awesome.
time. I told you, I am a student, grasshopper. Okay, so what are you reading? What are you listening to? Podcast, book? What are you filling your head with these days?
I'm reading Bob Beaudine's book, and I can't remember the title of it right now.
You're good. Beaudine?
Bob
Yes,
Beaudine.
It's
You already know everyone you need to.
something like that. I can't.
We're
Man.
both reading it, and we both.
I can't remember the name of it. Anyway,
This is what Alzheimer's.
No.
Wow.
We're
just
witnessing.
it is
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
only like on page 12, but so far it's been really good.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Well, and I know you read a ton. So do you do
Yes.
that once a day? Do you sit down and read? Do you have a certain time block for that?
I usually read between 4:45 and 5:45.
So right when you wake up in the morning.
No, I'm already awake.
She's
for
been
a
awake
while.
for a long time.
My goodness.
Wow.
Me and Jaisy are
Both of y'all, yeah.
sleeping.
But that comes from milking cows.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know. Maybe it comes from swinging shifts. I don't know.
What's
Swinging
my
what?
excuse?
I don't. Well, for you, there's a lot of no excuses.
I'm not sure if she said swinging shifts.
Yeah, I was wondering
or
what she was saying.
Swinging shifts when I worked in stores.
Oh,
shifts.
okay.
Yeah.
Shifts. I thought you were talking about cows again.
Yeah,
The
I-
southbound end of the cow.
Oh yeah. No.
All right, what
oh, that's
are
shit's like. Oh, sorry.
This is now marked explicit. Just kidding. So Ann Dan Weaver, what about podcasts? Do you listen to podcasts? I know Bill does.
I
He
listen
converted
to
you.
the Brian Buffini show. I
that's a
listen
good
to that
one.
one. Probably that's the most frequent one I listen to. I do listen to some others. I won't,
This one, the PB and Jaisy
Yes.
show.
That's right. And then and I listen to different. I like some of the politics side of it, so I listen to people on both sides of the fence who will remain nameless.
There you go. And she has this
smart.
cute smirk on her face when she talks about politics. Okay, what about favorite restaurants?
Favorite restaurants? I really don't have a favorite restaurant. I
Which
have a
that's probably
favorite dish,
But
but I
it's
don't
probably
have
Yeah,
a
a
what's
good
favorite
question
restaurant.
because
Yeah.
y'all cook so much. So
Right.
yeah, that's a good one. What's your favorite dish?
Lamb and baked potato.
Ooh,
Lamb.
lamb.
So her favorite restaurant is Bill's.
That's true. That we can
And-
say Bill's is the
Yeah,
best.
and it's open every day for something.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'll like call Michael and be like, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?" And he's like, "I don't know, have Chick-fil-A or something." And then I hear Bill going, "Okay, we're gonna have filet from a baby cow
Yeah.
and asparagus wrapped in
Bacon.
some kind of everything has 3 words. It's like pecan crusted bacon."
Right. On
Like,
our
it
Marco
can't just be
Polo, when we're
bacon.
like, what's everyone making tonight? And I'm like, I made mac and cheese and sloppy joes. And he's like, oh, well, we've got a pecan crusted fish for our first course. Secondly, we will have a meringue dish with, I don't even know, all this crazy stuff that I'm like, what?
That's
Yeah.
why I'm shaped like I am, and you're shaped like you are.
Yeah,
Oh
with
my
sloppy joes and macaroni and cheese.
Yes. I'm about to say, can I have both? These both sound so good.
Yeah.
What about a shout out to someone, a business, a friend, a mentor, or as Bill would say, a mentor?
Well, you had put in my notes of business, so I put in Woods and Cuds. Tangi out there is one of the owners, and she's very gracious. And they have excellent variety. They're in Alvarado, Texas, right off of Highway 67, just to the south of I-35W. And they have great selection. Freshness is great, and she's just an awesome lady.
And so, what do you guys get when y'all go there? Do you have like a normal, or do y'all
No.
switch it up when you go?
We
Is that
go
what they have?
whatever. We always do buy chicken and hamburger. Those are 2 staples because sometimes we work late and those are easy to fix. But there's always a variety of things that we come home with.
We actually got hot dogs there
Wow.
recently, Wagyu hot dogs that were absolutely amazing. And I've been looking for them in the grocery store because I don't go down there all the time, but never had anything bad. But more importantly, the service is amazing. So when we walk in, they greet you. And there's always a line of people, but once you're at the front of the line, you're 100% their sole
Their
attention.
That's
And-
awesome.
And it's all local. All their supply, all their canned goods and everything are done by local folks.
That's awesome.
So it's a very local business.
That's hard to find nowadays.
It is
really
very
is.
hard
That's
to
great. I'm gonna
find.
have to check it
Yes.
out.
And it's all grass-fed beef
Mhm.
and stuff,
Yes,
right?
it's all, they're not into your normal commercial growers. Everything's more local again.
Awesome, because that's hard. Yeah, I've been reading a ton on just, and not to get too into that, but I've been reading a ton on the junk that's put in so many
Yes.
foods, even places that are healthy,
Right.
grocery stores and stuff. There's still so many antibiotics and things that are just pumped full. So that's awesome.
And not only that, like all your vegetables, the reason vegetables taste different when you get them from the garden is they're not fermented. Everything is fermented because the natural cycle of any vegetable is to heat. And so when you something that's grown will heat, it gets hot, it ferments. So that's the difference in the taste.
So did you learn that as a Amish Mennonite lady growing up, or did you recently take a class and get a certification?
Yeah.
No, well, my Texas Master Gardener class was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot there. But no, I knew that before that from being in a previous things I've done.
One
in
of the
previous
guys that
lives.
held her at gunpoint was like, "Listen, this is how fruits and vegetables. I just want people to know the life cycle."
This is my message. That is awesome. So let's talk about that a little bit. And this is off the cuff. This is not in the notes that I asked you, but give us some advice if we're just starting out, can't keep anything green. What are some things we can do? Easy plants, maybe even easy vegetables if we're wanting to go that route. What's something for somebody that's not a green thumb that would be a good place to start, especially in Texas?
In Texas, if you want to plant outside, plant yucca. You can't kill it.
Love you.
That's a challenge. So, funny story. I got this plant. I thought it was fake. It was for a gift. I thought it was fake until like 3 months in, it started dying. And I was like, oh, I haven't watered that. And I looked online and it was like the plant that's impossible to kill. And I was like, well,
You killed it?
I did.
Oh my.
Remember the guy we had in the office that was watering the fake plant?
Oh my God.
Maybe that should be tossed in the lockbox. We had the plant in the sink and the water was running. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, this thing looks like it's about to die. I'm like,
It's like made out of rubber, dude.
He's like, oh, I think it was just dusty. Yeah, so another day. So yucca, that's awesome. Okay. Anything else you guys want to ask Anne? I feel like she has so many.
Anne has lived so many lives. I
She
feel like
has.
there's so many things that we could pick her brain on.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Miss Anne? Anything we didn't talk to you about?
Not really.
Well, I'm going to give you a challenge right here in the podcast, and it comes from something you asked me last night. So it won't be a complete surprise,
Okay.
but we just did an
Said something
episode.
really bad.
Yeah. Oh, and we were whispering sweet nothings to each other last night. And she looked at me and said, honey, let's do 75 hard.
I did.
Oh, are y'all going to do it?
So I'm going to accept your
Do
challenge
it.
after we get back from Peak Experience.
Oh.
So
Okay.
starting on May 15th, you and I are going to start 75 hard. So
Even
We're going to
before-
have you guys back 75 days after. I mean, Bill will be here, but
Even
75
after the
days
trip in
later
June?
just to see how much y'all's
it doesn't matter. We're starting 75 hard. So it's the diet. We're just not going to drink. We can do this.
Okay. Well, I can. Okay. I did. Okay.
The-
All right. I was just thinking that
Okay.
trip in the car for pulling
No,
a trailer.
we can do it. We can do it. We're going to go across country to visit Amish people. Something I'm really not sure why we're going to do, but we're going to take a couple weeks of our life and we're going to pull a trailer across the U.S. to visit her folks
That'll be
It's fantastic.
fun.
and then pull it back. And the goal will be, will we still be married? The answer is yes. We've been married a long time. But the answer is yes
to
to
each
that.
other? Or
Well,
just kidding.
I have
You
been
don't have to
married
answer
all
that.
my adult life.
Yeah, wife number 5 over here.
No, it's
No,
not
no, no,
Wi-Fi.
no. Not
No,
five.
no.
I think
It's
she's
only been
3
4.
and 4. I think it happened twice. I think
Yeah.
she was 3 and then came
It
back
only
for
happened
4.
once.
So, Anne, where can listeners find you online? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube?
And Facebook and Elle Weaver and on. I really don't do much other than that.
That's okay. We can find you that way. That way they can see your beautiful face, and we'll make sure and get that linked in the show notes so you guys can find Anne without asking her permission. She gives great gardening advice. At some point, you're going to have to start charging, though. So thank you so much, Anne. Please stick around. We have a segment coming up.
Tales Tales from the Lockbox.
Yes, so excited.
So, as many of you may not know, we are real estate agents. So, just part of the business and sales, just in general, is you come across a lot of crazy people, a lot of crazy situations, and I'm sure you have plenty of stories. I'm a little bit newer. I've only been an agent for about 2 years, a little over 2 years now. But I do have a background in sales. So something kind of funny is at my last job, I worked for a commercial diving company and I was their VP of sales. And so my territory that I kind of ran was like Arkansas, Louisiana, pretty much everywhere on that side of the U.S. And so a huge state that I would call on very often was Arkansas. And so talking on the phone, Arkansas. And so talking on the phone with these people who were oftentimes working for cities, being just kind of like superintendents and things like that, they would hear my voice. And so they would have in their mind what I'd look like. And so I would hear a lot of their complaints about their workers, this and that about, oh, this guy, and then they would kind of say different things describing the person. And I would just be like, oh, okay. But I wanted to close that sale. So I would just I wouldn't say anything like, oh yeah, those are horrible people. But I would also I would just be like, yeah, man, that sounds like a really horrible day. So anyway, do you want to buy this stuff? And so, there came a time where there was a trade show where it was like about waterworks and things like that. And it was here in Fort Worth. And so I go there and I start meeting a lot of my clients face to face. And one of them, which I won't name him, but Billy, if you're listening.
Maybe we should name him with his address so that we can handle this guy.
His name was actually Billy. And he meets me and the look on his face, as I'm sure all of our conversations just start playing in his head. And he's like, you're Jaisy George? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, hot damn, you're tan. And I was like, yes, I'm tan.
Yes,
Tanned by Jesus himself, I guess. And I'm sure you've got plenty of stories. What's something you've got?
That was awesome.
Oh, I'm trying to think of a funny one. It's been a while since I've had a funny one. I can't think of anything right. My mind just went blank.
How about the contract in the fridge?
Oh my gosh. So this is actually Bill's story, but there was an agent that once upon a time worked for a company a couple of decades ago, actually. She was concerned that the seller would not present her offer from the buyer. So after she wrote it for her buyer, she went and put it beside the milk in the refrigerator in the seller's home.
Oh, wow.
And needless to say, that was an interesting phone call
That's
Bill
cold.
got.
Yeah, I didn't get a phone call. In came the broker the next morning, walked right past my front desk, all the way back to my office and through my closed door. And he was hot.
Like he was like ripped.
Ew.
Yeah, no. He was definitely pear-shaped. He was hot like upset.
He hadn't done 75 yet.
Yeah. So he was very frustrated about it, but that was kind of interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah, and when I went to the
Desperate
agent,
times.
I asked the agent, "What were you thinking?" Well, I wanted to make sure the seller saw the offer because I didn't think he would present it. I'm like, there's a better way to do that.
That's right.
Like maybe come to me and let me do my job. And anyways, she went on to greener pastures. And
shot her.
believe it or not, we got the offer accepted and she actually closed on the house. Then we moved her on to do something else for a living.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we always end with our
Level up. So, as we've been talking about how to deal with difficult people, one of the things that we have to do is we've got to learn how to deal with ourselves because we're one of the most difficult people we know.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, okay.
I am not difficult.
Yeah.
Those talk tracks really get to you.
Where's
Yeah.
my Evian?
Yeah, so, Wright Thurston said, self-talk is the most powerful form of communication because it either empowers you or defeats you.
Wow, I like that.
So, I've got a challenge to all of us, and that's to change our internal talk track. Instead of saying, I'm too stupid, or I can't do this, or I won't do this, or I'll start 75 hard, but I know I'll only go one day. let's go ahead and start saying positive affirmations. For example, I enjoy helping people through difficult times to come out on the other side. And here's my challenge. Say that affirmation 5 times a day to 10 times a day for the next 30 days. So there's my challenge. Well, you know what? That's all we got today. And thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was great having you and the amazing Sarah and Jaisy. Thanks for being here. Check out our show notes because we've got some links and sources to today's episode. And don't forget to rate us on the platform that you're listening to us on.
Please.
You know what? If you got something you want us to talk about on the show, drop us a note. If you got a tale from the lockbox you want us to read, send it to us. This is the PB and Jaisy Show. We're out.
Yeah, we out.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB